Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. So today's news video, um, I first got the notification on my watch from the weather app talking about how El Nino is going to be worse this year than it has been in previous years, and it was discussing how it's going to affect this winter. They're predicting a much wetter winter. They're predicting a very cold winter. So, as a prepper, that's one of those news stories that just kind of stuck out with me. And, the things that we're doing in our household, basically the same thing we do every year. Uh, I'd say the only slight modification is we now do have a infant with us. So, sometime this week, I'm going to go with my grandpa and we're going to go pick up a cord of wood. Uh, their house is right next door to mine, and we've got two wood racks that are large enough to hold a cord of wood apiece. Uh, I'm a bit more frugal than he is. When I see people doing tree trimming around us and they put it out on the curb to be picked up with the trash, I will typically go out and pick it up. We had a bunch of storms come through and I chopped up the limbs that fell down. And so I'm already sitting at about a quarter of a cord of wood. And he's got some wood from last year, but I also go out to the farm and pick up the dead wood that's just out there. But either way, we are, prepping and planning in our own way because both of our houses have fireplaces, and that is a very strong way that we keep our houses warm in the winter. I think last year my gas bill was about $25, and that just shows, how much we rely on the wood for heating our home. And, I haven't done it yet because they're kind of expensive and it's a bit of work to do. But we do plan on putting two small wood burning stoves in this house, one in the formal living room and the other one in my office. That way, if we deal with a massive power outage, we have ways to heat ourselves up and keep ourselves warm. Things that we have done is we have two of the Mr. Buddy heaters. And the last time I counted, about 15 of those little 1 pound propane tanks. I use them on my Coleman stove for camping with the scouts or, camping on my own. And in addition to that, we do have several carbon monoxide detectors because if we're going to use those heaters inside of the house, for one, we do crack windows. Uh, and, we have the carbon monoxide detectors in every room, and we make sure that the batteries are good in them each year and each time we have to use it. Uh, we only used it once last year, and that was more just to test its effectiveness. We turned the heater off for the night and opened up some windows, and it got down to about 40 inside of the house. But the one room that we had the Mr. Buddy heater set up in, I didn't really, keep track of the temperature, but it was significantly warmer in that part of the house, so it did its job there. Other things that can be done, we've got some clay pots because she likes to do, gardening and stuff like that. And we have a lot of candles. So we are able to improvise and make a, secondary heater if we need to. Our primary line of defense is blankets. Uh, for the most part, when it gets really cold, we like to open the windows anyway, and we enjoy the house being 10, 20, 30 degrees cooler than it typically is. And the AC or heater doesn't really run, and we wear jackets when we're walking around the house. And when it's time for bed, we bundle up with, she will typically have 3 or 4 fleece blankets, and I enjoy sleeping in a sleeping bag more than I do just regular blankets. So I typically pull out the sleeping bag and sleep in that. And it's just another one of those, you know, you're putting yourselves in a uncomfortable situation for some people, and you are surviving through it. I know, we've got the windows open and it might be 50 in the house or 40 in the house, and it's not, terribly cold. But if we went prolonged periods without heat, then, it could definitely get even colder inside of the house. And so we've got the equipment there to, get through that. Layers are going to be your best friend when it gets cold. You really don't want to get wet when it gets cold, and you want multiple ways to keep yourself warm. So if that's, getting some hand warmers, and, you're not supposed to do it, but I've been on scouting campouts where you take one of those hot hands and stick it in the bottom of your sleeping bag and you sleep like a dream. Not supposed to do it, but, it's works out very, very effectively. There's also battery powered, heaters that you can put in your jacket pockets and stuff to stay warm. Those kind of started coming out when a lot of hunters needed them. And other things that you can do is you can set up a tent inside of a room. Making the room smaller than what it is, so you're only heating up, that smaller area. You're creating layers of insulation. Uh, and then, just keeping up with your local news. If you know that a bad storm is coming in, then you're going to go ahead and bring in, maybe that several hours more worth of wood or several days more worth of wood, so that you don't have to go outside to the giant stack when it's super cold outside. Making sure your, jackets and blankets are clean and you know where they're at, and just generally being prepared. Typically, the items that you have that you need for when it gets really, really cold is similar items that you would need if you are preparing for a hurricane or, any of these other things. So, what we're doing to stay warm, getting firewood, getting our sleeping bags and extra blankets out. Making sure we have our hot hands and the Mr. Buddy heater is, we've got the fuel for it. We could technically run the generator that we have and plug in, those little space heaters, but that's not really necessary where we live. In other places, it totally makes sense, but it doesn't really get to that, you know, deathly level cold where we're at. But it might be different for other places. So we need to stay hyper vigilant and know when something bad's going to happen, so we're paying attention to the news. And really, most of the supplies that you get to stay warm in the winter are either restocked yearly because it's firewood, or it's something that you buy once and forget about it, like your sleeping bags and your jackets and stuff like that. So let me know in the comment section down below what else you would add to this list. Are you missing items? Did I, spark your memory on, oh, I need to go get that done and make this happen so that, life doesn't suck when the crap hits the fan? And then if you enjoy what we're doing with the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and lastly, if you have a friend or family member that benefit from these discussions, send them my way. And with that, see you next time.